Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Between Two Coaches. We're on a mission to make fitness more human, snark sold separately. I'm Coach Amanda, and I'm joined by my co hosts.
It's a Coach Nick, and we're here, and we're doing it, and we're back. We had a week off, so our dear co-host here, Amanda, could keep all her mental energy ready for her surprise race that no one knew about, and everyone was shocked. But today's episode, we're gonna chat a little bit about Amanda's race. We're gonna chat about the marathon and the discomfort of being uncomfortably uncomfortable is a word you hear tossed around a lot about a marathon, but just kind of chat into that a little bit. And Amanda's going to share all the details that she couldn't share pre-race, but she can now, and it's gonna be a lovely conversation. So we're back and happy to be here, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't really want to only talk about me. If we're going to be completely honest, and I know we're in a safe space because if you're listening to this, you're probably iconic. So I also need to just state for the record, it's not that I couldn't share. However, I am of the belief that I think that I've always been like this. It's definitely grown in recent years with the height of social media. We don't need to share everything personal on the internet. And some things we can just keep for ourselves. And that's how I feel about my training. I may pop in with a little Instagram story after a long run or, share some of my schedule in my day
Yeah, like a
to give people
teaser
and
to your life.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure. I think that people share too much.
yeah. I mean, if you scroll around Instagram a little bit, I get into a dark corner where I'm like, this doesn't need to be here.
Doesn't need to be
We
here.
don't need to know
Doesn't.
about your family sex life. Like, it's okay. I don't.
My goodness,
But
I completely agree. Wow, oddly specific too.
yeah,
What you just said. I don't know what you're referring to, but it sounds horrifying. Yeah, I don't think we need to know that. I don't think we need to know that you just had an injury and now you've decided to continue training through the injury against medical professional advice and you're still running the marathon this weekend. I don't think that is a thing we need to do either. I digress. So it's not that I can't, it's that I choose not to. And I hope that everyone who has, whether you have one follower or 100,000 followers, you recognize that you're, you do not owe somebody your personal life.
Oh, it's a really good point. I feel like we watch people get comments all the time about you're not allowed to post this or talk about this because I'm your follower. I see sometimes with bigger accounts where people like the followers, I get angry at the person sharing what they want to share because they entitled to the view
Yeah.
that they want of this person. Well, you're only supposed to talk about, your family life or your kid or school or being a teacher. And it's like, no, I can talk about whatever I want to. You can just leave.
Right. Yeah. No, I could not imagine being that unwell
Yeah.
where I feel so entitled to know a damn thing about an internet stranger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So couldn't be me. I don't think it could be anyone on listening to this podcast. So you
No,
can
no.
skip ahead now. Did you have a good week, Coach Nick?
Did I? I did. My mom came to visit.
Oh,
We went to a
okay.
honey festival, which is what you would expect. There was honey and bees and kids activities, so it was fun.
You actively went to a place with bees?
Yeah,
Okay.
they make honey, and then we had saw them
No, I know
extracting
what they do.
Oh, yeah. It was a honey festival, and it was something new that was on the calendar, and we wanted a activity, so we drove out and did it. And the kids had a medium amount of fun. Some tears and some happy. So it's about a normal, 6 and 8 year old interaction. So that was fun. Got a run in. Not sure what will happen with my marathon thanks to the government shutdown. The Marine
Yes.
Corps marathon is questionable. Like a injured running back on your football team. It's questionable if it's going to happen. The Army 10 miler is this Sunday. That is doubtful to happen
Okay.
based on they're going to make a decision tomorrow and sitting here at 3 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday, the 7th, doesn't seem likely that they will have the Army 10 miler. And that just makes me
Shame.
feel a little unwell about the prospects of having the Marine Corps marathon, which requires more people and more things and is only less than 3 weeks away. My friend who I was running it with and I are looking up marathons, which is
Okay.
fun to do because they're all sold out and there's none available. Um, so yeah, I'm on like 7 wait lists now because I was just like, I don't know which one might offer more. My hope is that when a
Which
race,
one do you wait, can you tell us which ones? Because maybe we can get a bib for you.
the big ones are Richmond and Kiowa Island. Those are the big ones I'm on. Some other
Yes.
smaller ones that I don't really care if I get into. And then I'm like monitoring Harrisburg, but it's like 2 loops, which is not an ideal marathon. I don't
See,
really
I
like
would be fine. I know
I don't
I'd be
like
fine
if
with
I'm
that.
going through the finish line, I'm kind of like, okay, I could be I don't really want to go over again. Like, just let me stop, right? So
I'm sure they don't take out the finishing tape. Do you think they do?
no, they
They do?
don't. But if just I'm that close, it would just be like I don't have to run another loop. I could literally go grab a beer and just like and maybe get the half medal and be done. So I just don't like that there's an option. Like if I go run a 26-mile point to point, I can't stop unless I want to like get a medical ride back to the finish line, which would take longer. I might as well just keep going, right? So there's no out. But my hope is that when a race with 35,000 runners cancels, that other races might in the area, like Richmond,
Yeah.
might pick up and say, hey, we can add a couple thousand slots. Maybe we'll have a fifth wave. Maybe the city can shut down a
Yes.
little longer to support this race that lost all these people. So I'm on the Richmond wait list for that reason. I do like Richmond anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
but I would rather run Marine Corps. I just don't think it's gonna happen at this point. And so yeah, so that's where we're at. Um for me it wasn't a goal race, but I have athletes who's a goal race for
Yep.
and others. So I feel much worse for people who have like, they're like peaking last weekend and they're like, I'm ready to go. And the race is like, we don't know. We'll tell you soon. And you're like, cool.
I think that Marine Corps should do better by its people and come up with a decision, even if it's premature. That way people feel some sense of control around it because runners are out of their minds anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's not their fault. They didn't shut down the government and they're not sure how they're getting. Yeah, I understand your
Totally, I
point, but
get it. But somebody has to.
and they don't want to give up too soon because what if the air quotes, what if the government fixes and opens up this week and then they're like, we shut down and then people are even more mad. They're like, why'd you shut down? You had 20 days to do this. So, they can't win and they're just doing their best. So,
Not.
but if it's like the day before and they're like, we're not sure if we're going to have the race or not, then I'd be like, what are you doing, people? Anyway, yes, that's my marathon that I am training for that may not happen this summer.
Everything's fine.
The summer I trained for a marathon and turned pretty, and it didn't happen.
I smell a virtual marathon in your future.
I will not do that. That's like the only thing I'll probably never do is run 26.2
That
miles
is
without.
my dream.
Is it? I would like.
I,
You sent me
I
the.
almost did it. I
Yeah,
almost did it in 2021. I was like, you know what? I don't really want to go to Staten Island.
yeah. You sent me the perimeter, and I do that because it's just a fun thing. So like,
Yeah,
if there was
well,
like a thing
we can
about
do
it,
that.
I would do
Yeah.
it. But like, someone's like, oh, there's no Marine
But
Corps.
it's also like it's now like organized. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't be you. Yeah.
But like if someone's like, "Hey, go run, why don't you just go around Baltimore and run 26 miles and call it your marathon?" I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. No, I would rather I would probably instead just go to DC, go to the hotel, go get some dinner, go get some drinks, and not run a marathon, then come home the next day. I do that before I go run a marathon without a.
We are so starkly different.
I don't love the marathons. That's like the other part.
I love the marathon. I love running, and I don't. What you love about the marathon, I don't love about the marathon, and what I love, you're like not down for it. Like I don't need any spectators, which is like one of the I'm there's always like the marathon I ran, Wineglass. That's always the feedback I hear. Well, there weren't enough spectators after like people go through all these world majors and really enjoy the hype. And that's great if that's what you need. I actually need quiet
Yeah.
on a road with no one else. I'm good.
I'll tell you what though, New York Roadrunners, if you're listening, which you probably are, if you have 2 bibs for New York City Marathon, you wanna give for a struggling, Marine Corps cancelee, I would do that. Uh, you
You
have
would do New York City?
if they tossed me a bib, I'd do New York City. I've never done it, so it's like a good backup option, but, yeah,
Okay.
um,
Let's see what we can do.
alright.
Let's see what we can do.
So that was my week. We will get into your week because it's all part of your story. Oh, but as Amanda said, she wants to tell all the details, but she doesn't want to. So we'll make this interactive and we'll make this like a marathon conversation around Amanda's marathon. So
Okay.
why don't we hop into it? So you did Wineglass, which is your maybe your favorite. I mean, New York City's more favorite, but you do Wineglass a few times, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it I like it enough to have returned to. It is a smaller course, as I was mentioning before. If you're going for a small town local feel, it's the vibe. It really reminds me of when I went to college at University at Buffalo and I lived in Amherst. And it's a part of New York that I never that is just so not the New York that I was raised in, that it makes it feel like just a different part of the country, which is good. I like it. I enjoy it. And it also is an area where the most important factor for me is when I'm choosing a race is one that like I know that my dad and I can make a trip of. And it doesn't even really require us to do much of anything. It's just to be with each other outside and doing the things that make us us, which includes but is not limited to visiting every Dollar General we drive by just to see what the kinds of people that are inside. Going to the Wegmans, we must go into the Wegmans in every city that we're in. We'll go to. My dad is has always been into hiking and trails and whatnot, and while I refuse to, he traumatized me last year. I had to do one of these walks with him before Steamtown. He said it was a short walk. It wasn't. But what we'll do is we'll sit on a bench and we'll just people watch because we're New Yorkers. That's what we
Yeah.
do. So we just people watch on a lake. We people watch on the trails. We eat, I eat carbs. He eats like
Andy.
pistachios or something. No, the man is like, for somebody who was born and raised in New York, and as soon as he opens his mouth, he's a New Yorker. That man, he can live off the earth. Berries, nuts, like, we
Uh,
don't use porta potties when we're together. We're like going behind barns. We're in lawless territory when him and I are together. And he doesn't get away with that with my mom and my sister. So we are thick as thieves, and it is a relationship that is most important to me.
love that.
So, and he's not a runner, but he did say on the drive up, he goes, I'm thinking of getting into, he's not a runner when he says this. I'm thinking of getting into light jogging.
Oh, there we go. All right. A little yogging. Uh, we like that.
So I got a little too excited. I'm,
Next thing you know, he'll be doing a marathon with you.
I'm like, what? Yeah. So anyway,
Did I ever tell you Wineglass was my first marathon?
you did. You told me
Yeah.
several
Oh, well,
times.
now I'm
Yeah.
telling you another time. I like it. I liked it for all the reasons you did. There's like
Yeah.
lakes up there because there was a part of New York I never knew either. Like I was like, all I knew is New York City, and then like there's the rest of the state that was like something different. And we went out there, and it's like fall is fall out there, and there's like
Yeah.
all these lakes, and like my wife loved that around the lake there's like 100 wineries, and we just went wine tasting before the race. I didn't, but they
Nice.
did. And there's all hiking, and there's just a lot of nature up there.
Hmm.
And then the course was lovely.
Yeah.
And the medal was from the glass factory, which I loved. I still have it. It's still
Hmm.
one of my favorite medals.
Hmm.
And then yeah, the food post race, you get Wegmans soup, which I loved.
They really, yeah, soup and pizza and
They do a good job.
cookies and bagels. And yeah, it's not a race for everyone.
No.
The feedback that I hear about it is for, and that's fine. I encourage people who, like, if you love a crowd, there are races that are not the world majors that offer that support, right? So, like Marine Corps, for example, when the government is not shutting down, that would be a wise choice. For example, what other marathons have good? Philly, right?
He's got good crowd support. Yeah. There's like a back part of the race that's like a little lonely, but like I don't think there's very few races that can cover 26 miles of spectators. Most can like
Yes.
hit a good 13. Chicago's and New York can do 26.
Right.
Boston.
Right. 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 So those are, you have options. Twin Cities is another great like medium size course. CIM, right, is a larger, is not a world major but a major match. So you have options. Anyway, yes, it is peak fall, except my race on Sunday was peak summer.
Yeah. But Amanda
No, it
loves
was low summer.
that's what you like.
Love, love an 80 degree day. To all jokes aside, I actually do. So I'm not a normal runner. Most runners really thrive in that. What would you say, 40s?
45 degrees is the
Yeah, no,
optimal scientific temperature for the best
mm,
racing conditions.
I know that they statistically left me out of that.
Yeah. Well, you're one of those outliers that in old science we would declare as an outlier and ignore, but in new science we look at your data and we make that the actual data that we're going to follow. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
to that I am
that's what they're
grateful.
doing with science
New
these days.
size.
Yeah.
I've heard that. So I'm the I what I like to refer to myself and our friend of the pod, Holly, as we're basil plants. Okay. We thrive in the heat. And while it would have been like nice because a lot of the course is not shaded actually at all. It would have been nice to be cooler, but I knew going into the weekend that potential. So I was not gonna F around. The week of taper and carb load beginning with a 3 day load on Thursday. This would be the first year that I did not BS the carb load. Some people carb load and they do it by visuals, right? I've decided for me, I'm at the point, and numbers aren't good for everyone. I want to say that numbers are not good for everyone's journey, whether if they have a history of disordered thinking around food, weight, and their bodies. It's not helpful for everyone. For me, I'm at the stage where it doesn't bother me. No, I'm very neutral about numbers. So I wanted to know really what the science thought based on my body, what I should get in per day for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I was going to come as close to that as possible. And I did. I
Hey.
really came as close to it as possible. And I leaned into all the foods that I enjoyed throughout training. One of my athletes who ran Berlin Marathon, she had door dashed over. By the way, it's not far from my apartment, but she's so sweet. She door dashed over Levain cookies. So that was
Oh,
a huge part of my fueling strategy. There
that's
there are
cookies.
about 50 grams of carbs in one, which is like, I was on a daily Levain cookie diet for the final week of
Whatever it
my training.
takes. I think
Whatever it
people always
takes.
stay away from like liquid carbs, like it goes so. And I'm like, get one of those Bolt House smoothies. They're like 70 grams,
Amazing.
and get the mango one too, so it doesn't like too much fiber. And you're like, your money, right? Like
I use lemonade.
that works too.
It's
Wawa.
fall. There are some great apple concoctions you can go with. Also, throughout my training, even when it's summer, I drink hot chocolate. So hot chocolate is another great carb source that I loved. So the carbs were up, the fluids were up, the electrolytes were up in the days leading up to the race. And so I knew going into it that I would be as equipped as I could be. I was so uncomfortable on Saturday. I had not ever experienced this kind of, like, when I think back, it was a different kind of fullness than like any sort of uh binges I've had in the past in my eating disorder.
Yeah.
I don't mean to chuckle, but it's true. Like that's the only thing I can relate it to. Like is it was just so I was so full. I was like, And I remember it was 3 o'clock on Saturday. And I had sent a voice note to my friend, and it was just an 8 minute long bitch fest. I was just upset. I was dramatic. It was terrible. And I was like, and I cannot believe I still have another like 150 grams to go today. And I did it. And you know what? I woke up and it was actually fine. Like, it was totally fine. I steal and I like to give credit. I stole and I gave credit to Coach Nick's great little mantras on the gel tip. And so on each of my gels, I put a little words that I like to say to myself when I'm going through it. And that was actually so fun. It was so fun to not only do that on Saturday, but while I was in the race, to like read because I only did one or two words, to read the word. Also, what I did was I saw my dad four times on the course. And of those 4 times, like I would put on the gel, like, you're gonna see dad soon. So it's like something to look forward to
Yeah,
too.
I like that. I used to like people used to write in their hands, but like, it gets sweaty and like it would get washed off.
I won't
So
do
like,
that.
in like my 2018, I did it on all my gels, and I was just like, because I always tell myself, "Oh, at mile 17, just remember this phrase, and you'll be great." And then I'm in the middle of a race, and either my ADHD is going crazy, or I'm just hyper focused on performance, and I'm like, I forgot every phrase I wanted to know. So I was like, "Why don't I just write on the damn gel? I'm going to take them anyway, and then look at them when you take them." And it's a fun
That's
little
right.
activity you can do before the race, and then it helps you kind of even visualize that stuff. So yeah, I've shared it with all my athletes. I know Vicky did it for Chicago
Yes.
in 2023, and a lot
Yes.
of my other athletes have done it and loved it. So yeah, it's a fun little tip. I even put it on the little race week mindset checklist I made as a little tip in there.
That was a great checklist.
Yeah, I think it's a fun little thing to do before when you're setting out your stuff.
Agreed. Agreed. So those were the fun little things that I did leading up to the race. And without going into like my goals or expectations for the race, I want to say that and I shared this with Leah before. She asked me how I felt the week of. I think Leah and Treg both asked me. It was very sweet. And I said, I'm already proud of myself. I ran my highest mileage I've ever run. I implemented something that I was really opposed to, which was speed work. As everyone here knows, this is the first like year that I've really done it. And I'm really proud that like I was so consistent. Injuries are incredibly complex, and they have different reasons why someone gets injured. But I knew that every reason that I could control, I was controlling. I was increasing my nutrition across the board. I was keeping the mileage, even though I had increased it. I had built myself out over a longer period of time to increase that mileage. That way, it wasn't too much too soon. I took the cutback weeks really seriously. I took everything. I slept well. I really prioritized time off of my off throughout the week when I could, because my job is so physically demanding. That was really important to me. And I was really proud of I was really proud of that. And so I adjusted my expectations because of the forecast. So while I am a basil plant, I'm not stupid. And I know that these things can impact your time. And they did for me when I ran the Brooklyn half this past spring, which was another PR for me, but it wasn't the PR that I was shooting for. And that's okay. Like it was a crazy humid hot day at the Brooklyn half.
Yeah, and I want to say being able to flip your mindset to be like proud of yourself before you start is like so important because like it takes so much pressure off because I feel like so often
Yeah.
people won't be proud until they achieve something because this is how we are as human beings. We're so incredibly hard on ourselves that we're like, once I finish or once I run this clock says this number, then I'll be proud from all this hard work. Well, then you're still making the race this anxiety filled, stress filled thing because the only way you can be proud is when you achieve it. And then, even honestly, when you achieve it, you're still going to take 48 hours and then you're going to go, you know what, I could probably run 5 minutes faster. So that's not even providing the proud feeling that you need for long enough.
Mm.
Like, being able to go into your race proud of your training and knowing that, like, I can't control you can't control what the clock says. No matter what you do going that race, the thing you control is you can control your narrative, you control how you feel, you control how you're gonna accept the moments that come, but we can't guarantee anything, no matter how great your training block is. So don't put your proud feeling of yourself into something you can't control. The thing you did this block that you could control is you showed up in training, you tried something new, you did more mileage, you were consistent, you listened to your body, and you carbo loaded like crazy. And that's all, the victory's already there. Everything else at
Hmm.
this point is just icing on the cake.
Amen. So that's how I showed up. And
And then showed out.
I did show out. I was so, because I did not share that I was running Wineglass with quite literally anyone except the person who is hosting this podcast and my father, who had to transport me to the event and spend time with me, and select few. I was going in like, I don't know anyone who's running, right? Oh my goodness. So my dad drives me to the bus, and this love, three people came up to me waiting online for the bus because they, I don't know how it happened, but they follow me for some stupid reason. And so it was so heartwarming to see people who just like introduce themselves to me waiting online for the bus. Then I get on the bus, and in the back row is shout out to Ani Friedman, who is a reporter and also fellow runner, friend of the pod. In fact, she turned to me on the bus and she goes, "Nick seems like such a great guy." And I
Aw.
said, "He is." So shout out. She also got a PR.
Hey.
And it was so lovely to meet people there. And it made me just feel incredibly proud of the community that we've created.
Yeah.
It made me really proud. So we get there and, do our little cute little warm up.
Is the start line still like on the top of this random hill and this like
Yes.
fields by this like what? Okay, yeah, yeah. It's so weird.
Yes, yes, it is. It's in a field. Yep, yep. It's good. It's good. And, and we line up and the gun goes off and then pretty much I black out. No, I actually I was comfortable for, and I'm not exaggerating, and I can tell, and I know this because I'm physically pretty fine until mile 22, when I realized that I really could F around and find out. And I ran hard, but it wasn't impossible. It was so steady. I was so confident, and throughout the race there were just so many wonderful moments. The fact that I saw my dad at those 4 points. I saw friend of the pod, Miss Christine, on the course.
Oh, yes.
She's like, Amanda, and she got some little video footage. And that was lovely from Relentless Runner. Shout out to them. And my dad even was driving alongside me for a part of it. He
Oh
goes,
my god.
"Hey, Amanda." And I was running next to a pacer. And he goes, "Are you not?" He goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to take a ride." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No. My dad's just excited he got to drive next to his daughter on a marathon course.
Oh my
It's
gosh. Were
wild."
you're like Matt Choi where you had like your own little personal rider on the course with you?
I am just like Matt Choi. I've heard that before. People often compare me to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely who I am. That's a joke. Couldn't be me. And it was just like so many lovely moments like that. And my dad nailed the bottle handoff. I have video of it. I can't wait to keep. I'm going to be sharing these videos for a while. So buckle up. If you're sick of my content, it's only going to get more nauseating. He nailed the bottle handoff and recorded me at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. Really
We need to
quite the
we need to
transformation from last year. And then I broke away and I really picked up the pace. And Bad Bunny was playing, and it
good.
was it was mile like 24.7, something like that. And my last nutrition alert went off on my watch, which meant my last gel. And I was just so excited. I just took down that gel, which had uh, an explicit word on it. It said fly, bitch. And I did. I did. And it was really it was really it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I crossed the finish line. And the first I turned to the left, and just saw my dad waving.
Oh,
Walked over to the PR bell. I got an 8-minute PR. That was another. I don't know how they were there. And then another shout out to Angela and Stephanie and Emma, who all came up to me at around the finish area
oh,
to say that they followed, and a couple of them had also listened to the podcast, and it just really was a really nice day. It was a
yeah.
really nice day.
I love that. You were definitely flying at mile 24 because one of my athletes, Jennifer, friend of the podcast,
Oh,
said that she's like, I think I saw Amanda fly by me at mile 24. And I was like, well, she's like, is she there? I'm like, well, she's there secretly. Everyone else will find out soon that she was there. But I was like, yes, that's her. So yeah,
congratulations to Jennifer too
she
for
ran a
a
10
great
minute PR.
race. Amazing. That's great.
Super cool. I love, the marathon is when you mentioned like blacking out or like sort of falling into a rhythm. Like I think we all sort of do that in the marathon, but I think like sometimes expectations are like, you mentioned later on where you kind of picked it up and went. Sometimes we miss expectations with the marathon of like this discomfort, uncomfortable feeling, like because our bodies are weird and marathons are weird.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's mile 4 where you feel like, oh no, I don't feel great today, and you start
Yeah.
doubting yourself. Like, I think one of the most powerful things I always sort of remind people about the marathon and this feeling is sort of around the idea of like, just because you're running and it's mile 12 and it feels really hard doesn't mean like you have to keep pushing. Like you can give yourself the ability to kind of
Yes.
control your effort. You can slow down a little at mile 12. I sometimes tell athletes like, hey, slow down for 30 seconds. Let your heart rate come down. Maybe you're anxious, maybe something's going on, and then start picking it back up again. Like that 30 seconds isn't going to ruin your race. But sometimes when you push too far, trying to keep that discomfort going at the wrong parts of the race, like it really blows up. And you can even watch pro runners do it all the time. Like that's a great example. They don't know it usually never in a professional race. So they all run the same pace from the start to the finish, and then someone sprints to the end and wins. Some people zoom ahead, some people slow down, some people fall off the pack and then catch back up. They're running the effort that they can do,
Yes.
and like that's okay for us to do too. So like this feeling, it's really important to learn in training because like on
Yes.
race day, you can really throw a good race out the window if you're so caught up in, "Well, I don't feel good early, or maybe I feel more discomfort than I want to." Or in your scenario, like sometimes you can just have those magical races where you sort of just black out and wake up mile 24 and you're like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's not the norm. And so like feeling this
Yes.
discomfort level and giving yourself permission to kind of slow down and speed up, that's okay. It doesn't ruin your race. Like it doesn't mean from start to finish you just need to keep going always faster, faster, faster. Like control your efforts. Like that's important.
Yes. Yeah, I one thing that I did at this race, and I've done it before. I did it at the United Half this past year. I did it for my first marathon. I didn't even wear a watch. So I decided ahead of time, because of these expectations that sometimes creep in during a race. I mean, they always do. Certain expectations always creep in during a race. I was not going to use my watch for the pacing. So I was kind of just going to like ballpark look at the pace groups, the 340, the 345, and sit somewhere and just use my watch for nutrition alerts, because I didn't want to run the race that my watch told me to run. I wanted to run the one that I was in. I wanted to just be present. And one of the pacer actually turned to me and goes, "Is your watch, did your watch clock that? Because mine is a little ahead." I'm like, "Sir, I do not know. I don't know. I
I just
just have
know
the
when I'm
time
supposed to take
going.
pills.
I just know that I'm about due for my SIS beta fuel, my crank sports. This is what I know."
Yeah.
So, and I think that for me is what works, because of what you shared. Dialing in effort in my training was something that I preferred over the minute per mile mark.
Yes. Well, all of us here, Amanda, we're super proud of you and your big PR and your great race and just your great training block and just your great vibes and all your
Oh,
positive
please
energy, and we love it. So,
stop.
way to
Stop it a
go.
minute. Thank you. Thank you. We have a couple of like announcements, right?
We do.
Okay. So, do you want to take the lead? Go, go, go.
No, I don't. Do I?
Oh my goodness. Well, do you not know what these announcements are? Is that why?
I think I do, but maybe I don't. So that's why I'm
All
like,
right. So, I'm going to go with the first one. Coach Nick and I are hosting a New York City Marathon race prep webinar. So, if you're listening to this in the ghost of Christmas future, I don't know. I don't know what. You don't need to sign up for this webinar because it would be in the past. But if you're listening to this IRL or within the month of October, we are hosting on October 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time this race prep webinar. It's incredibly financially accessible. We love that. It's $25, and we're going to go over the details to help you run your best race yet if you're running the New York City Marathon. So you can head over to, maybe we could put the link in the show notes.
we will. Yes, you can. There's a link. We can. There'll be a
And it's
live
also on
record.
our Instagram.
Yep, it's in our Instagrams. There'll be a live recording on the 22nd, but don't worry if you don't make that live. We'll send you the recording the next day. Comes with about 67 slides, so everything you could want to know: start times, transportation, expo details, course preview, question and answer. Everything you could possibly want is in this slide deck, and you can just review it and have it. Take some of the stress off from race day.
And if you're not running the New York City Marathon, but you have a friend who is, why don't you give them a gift? Okay? They deserve it. Get them a bagel and race prep webinar. I think that's a good gift.
It's the best gift you can give.
Any other announcements that you want to share?
We wanted to share that this is going to be the second to last episode of the season, and we'll probably have next week should be the last episode, and then we will have more details coming up later this year on some changes coming. All good, but we can get into that later. You all know when we know, and we can share. And we'll do a Patreon episode. So anyone on the Patreon will have one more episode this month and chat a little bit about that. Yeah, those are my last remarks.
I think that's great, Coach Nick. And for all those wondering, because I know you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, are they breaking up? And no,
No,
no.
we're more together than ever.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah, now we're it's gonna be worse, it's gonna be worse now for everyone involved.
But
Yeah.
good for us. So, and good for you, really, too. You'll like it. So, yeah, thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. You can reach out to us at any time. Reach out to us on our Instagram. And we will see you next time.
Bye.